sort of demonstration events.
Well, yes, and giving a return to people who are investing a lot of money in that.
Now you have been, you're well documented on YouTube, on TED Talk. I noticed this morning I went on to the presentation and there was the presentation you gave just a couple of months ago. You've had 1.38 million viewers, which is probably over 2 million people that have come on to spend 20 minutes to listen to you, which is quite an accomplishment. I congratulate you for that. Let me ask you, what's it like to be so popular?
I don't know if I like it.
Why all the interest in this?
Well, we'll talk about, I don't want to preempt all of the talk, but the only thing that is going to save us is social networking and getting information out beyond authorities, because I could have given that same talk 40 years ago. And for 40 years it's been strongly opposed by governments, universities, many people. It's a whole horror story. Finally, it's out to the public and there'll be no stopping it now.
Okay, well that's excellent. Let's hear your message. Let's go forward, give us your message, then let's come on back and let's have a series of questions that we can go from there. Okay?
Did you put some rum in this?
Not yet. We may have to.
I think we're going to have a fun day from
Yes.
what I, yeah. Well, good morning all formally. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Alma, David, the rest for inviting me here to be with you. I had dinner last night and mingled with some of you and had breakfast this morning and began to get a feel for what really is a pretty unique organization, I think. And I'm genuinely very, very pleased to be with you because I think it's unique organizations like this that may lead the change we need. You obviously didn't invite me today to give a meaningless talk, and it's not going to be meaningless. It's going to have a lot of meaning, and I hope will be a game changer for many of you. I don't have to tell you, so I won't dwell on it, but we have this global tsunami coming on us of climate change, desertification, population rising to 10 billion or more, and already we've got 1 billion people going hungry approximately every night. So we have an alarming problem. Now, in this problem that we face, as you know, livestock are absolutely vilified for causing desertification, climate change, belching methane, etc. There are many reasons why livestock is vilified, and there are strong movements to get people not to eat beef or meat, etc. Some people actually took me to a vegan restaurant the other day in Boulder, and I said to them, please don't ever do that again. It was terrible, the artificial meat. So we're even going to the extent of manufacturing artificial meat these days, and I'm not exaggerating, it was ghastly. So in that situation that I want to talk about, I want you to know that initially I was one of the people that opposed particularly cattle ranching, goats, etc., because as a wildlifer, I could see and knew the damage they were doing to wildlife, and my whole training at university reinforced that. And I was a very fanatical young scientist. So when I say I was opposed to the beef industry, you have no idea how strongly. I coined the words game ranching in 1956, I think it was, trying to see if we couldn't get rid of all livestock and restore the land under just wildlife properly managed, much like fish in the ocean managed in situ. And I have that original paper written in my handwriting, corrected by Sir Frank Fraser-Darling, because I tried to get him to put out the idea, knowing it wouldn't be readily accepted from a 20-year-old young man. That became a multi-billion-dollar industry in southern parts of Africa and into Texas and so on. And tragically, it was one more case in my life where I was just horribly wrong. It didn't work, and many of those game ranches and so on now are deteriorating extremely badly. So I've been wrong many times, and I had to change. So let me go off that for a moment and just talk about agriculture. Now, agriculture is going to have to feed 10 billion people. And at the same time, we're going to have to deal with its role in climate change. Many people, most people, when you talk about agriculture, think of crop production. And many people in agriculture, when you talk to them about what do, say, I'm in agriculture. They don't say I'm in business. I don't think I've ever spoken to a farmer who says I'm in business. He says I'm in agriculture. Agriculture is the most complex business there is in the world. There is no business, manufacturing, anything else, that even approaches agriculture for complexity. So farmers, people in agriculture, need to start saying, I'm in business, and the most important business in the world. Now, why do I say that? Because agriculture is not crop production. Agriculture is the production of food and fiber from all of the world's land and waters. That is what agriculture is. And by compartmentalizing it, we lose sight of what it is and its role. Now, without agriculture, you cannot have a church. You cannot have an Alma. You cannot have a government. You cannot have a university. And nothing, to my mind, indicates our disconnect from reality more than Nobel Prizes. When Alfred Nobel came up with those, it was a wonderful intent. And the intent was to attract our best young minds to the things that mattered for humanity. And I'm sure he was advised by some of the best minds at the time. And you know what was selected: physics, chemistry, etc. They argued about maths. You know what the Nobel Prizes are. Do you notice there's nothing for agriculture? The most vital thing for humanity, without which we wouldn't even be in this room. We've been disconnected from reality for a long, long time. Now, when we look at agriculture, it is what made civilization possible and all that we enjoy today. But if we look at its track record and its present record, it is not good. Agriculture is producing far more eroding soil than food. We need about half a ton of food per year to keep a human, well, reasonably fed. The soil scientists estimate that we are destroying, losing, about 4 tons of soil per human alive today. And that's mostly from the croplands. We haven't got the figures, nobody's tried to get them. But if we look at the greater areas of the world's land, remembering that the croplands are roughly 18% of the world's land, if we look at the greater erosion on the other areas under non-cropland agriculture, as I say, we don't have the figures, but they would have to be somewhere around 8 or 10 tons per human alive today. How long are you going to be in any business when you're producing half a ton of product for 8 to 10 tons of destruction of the very base of that product? It's a sad state of affairs. Now, not only that, agriculture is the cause of the desertification of the world that I talked about in the TED Talk. Agriculture is the reason that we are burning way over 2 billion acres in Africa alone of grasslands, but far more when you take Australia, United States, etc. into it. And a 1.5 acre fire, according to French research, puts out more and more damaging pollutants than 4,000 cars per second. And agriculture is burning millions of acres periodically in the tropical wet forests, etc. So that is an enormous contribution. Then you've got the silting of the ocean shelves around the continents from the rivers coming down in flood, etc. Put all of this together, and we do not have any industry in the world more destructive than agriculture. More destructive than mining, extraction, coal, any industry we have. So here we have the most vital industry in the world, this incredible disconnect from reality, and this industry of ours, the most destructive, endangering the world more than any other industry. And as I mentioned in the TED talk, even after we discover alternatives or develop alternatives to fossil fuels, where we have benign sources of energy for mass transport, cities, etc., climate change will continue because of agriculture. So with that in mind, you see that the most urgent problem globally is to start looking at agriculture seriously. We cannot continue business as usual. Now, what I've said to you in a few minutes, I don't believe any informed scientist or person would argue. All that I've told you is plain facts. How many of you were deeply aware of that? Some of you were. We need every citizen to become deeply aware of that. All right, so now let's just go on constructively from here, because I didn't come for a doomsday talk and you didn't either. So let's go through some of this. As that Brazilian said, let's look at the utter simplicity of the situation and how easy it is to move forward. What I'm going to tell you is profoundly simple. It is only not easy because it involves changing set ways, habits, thinking, etc. So we'll have a day of fun with this.